Hey Ratbags, it's Jay today going through every ending that you can get in ATOMFALL. This isn't a guide how to achieve all of them, it's simply for people that maybe completed it, don't really fancy going through the rest of them just to see maybe the final cutscenes. Otherwise this video would be literally way too long. I'm actually going to do individual guides showing how to get each and every ending. So maybe hold on for that if you're still struggling or there's something you really want to clarify. But otherwise, I'm going to pip in maybe a couple times during the parts where we're getting to the cutscenes, and then I'll just let the full cutscene and dialogue with the different NPCs. There are 6 different endings you can get. There's a couple of tiny minor variations in some of them with the very end slates, but I don't think it's really worth necessarily trying to achieve to get them. Absolutely loved ATOMFALL, great game, got lots of guides on it, and as I said, I'll be detailing in full detail, including the final kind of level or area to explore. Chances are you've already seen it. And a little FYI, including my first complete run, it took around 25 hours to reload certain points in the game to achieve all endings and the full game.
You have done well. Thank you. If I told you, would you believe me? Should you believe me? We are what we do. That is who I am. You are what you have done here. You are done. You may leave. Do not distress yourself. I have never lied to you. And I tell you now, you will not die here. The gas is a necessity. When you awaken, all may become clear. You chose to trust me, a voice on a broken telephone. Perhaps just a voice in your mind. Did you ever consider that? You have learned much and come far. My apologies for the gas, but it was necessary. You left quite the trail of carnage, didn't you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon is dead, and the Windscale plant is destroyed. The interference field should rapidly fade now, and perhaps the outside world will finally see what has happened here. So ends the quarantine.
The woods are dark and the
This one you can actually mess up pretty early in the game depending on who you talk to. Basically the other scientist, Dr. Holder. If you reveal the location of Dr. Garrow, then it messes up getting the Dr. Garrow ending. This was also one of the hardest ones to achieve due to a bunch of other stuff too, which I'll go through in a separate video.
You're here. I see you found me well enough. Now, give me that sample and we can leave. Splendid. Indeed, let us be gone. This way, quickly. There's plenty of research for us to be getting on with.
You freed Diane Garrow from the protocol and even agreed to fetch a sample of the very living heart of Oberon. Dr. Garrow seems very pleased with that sample. One hopes she remembers her part of the bargain. You left quite the trail of carnage, didn't you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon lives. The status quo maintained. But you took a sample that may push the balance one way or the other in the future. The quarantine remains, and the walls stand strong. For the moment, at least.
The woods are dark.
Joyce Tanner ending, yeah, you can absolutely mess up at the last minute if you don't give the right answers. If it's not already obvious, this is the Infiltrator questline to finish the game.
Oh, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? You're here. You've performed a great service. Top hole. My people will be ever so grateful, believe me. Now, where's the sample? Once that's safely stowed, we can go. Oh, good heavens. Does it matter at this juncture? Why should you even care? I'm your way out. And believe you me, we need to leave quickly. Agra. Well now, aren't you the smart one? Yes. That's my code name, sort of thingy. I suppose you might call me a fellow traveler. I've worked so hard to get the secrets of Oberon out of the zone, because we simply can't let them be buried here. You know, outside the walls, they're talking about MAD. Mutually assured destruction. Each side with enough bombs to ensure nobody dares use them. In the wrong hands, Oberon could destroy the planet. That's why it needs to be in everyone's hands, so no one can use it. It's as simple as that. Anyway, enough talking. The sample? Oh, I was truly hoping that you wouldn't say that. Alas, I wasn't really asking. It was more along the lines of an order. For whatever it's worth, my friends and I truly didn't want things to turn violent. But we are awfully good at it. You're here! Perhaps you can clear something up for me. I was monitoring the instruments in the interchange, waiting for the evacuation notice as my cue to Scarpa. I waited and I waited, but nothing. The Oberon destruction sequence was never triggered. So what did you do? A poison? But how? Where in blue blazes would you have found an effective poison? Oh, you idiot! You've complicated things enormously now. Don't you see? I can't take a piece of Oberon to my people, only to tell them that someone has developed an effective weapon against it. Let me think. Right. Yes. So, I will get you out of here. But there's a condition. Whoever you've been working with, the one who developed the poison, kill them. Then bring me proof. Excellent. You've performed a great service. Top hole. My people will be ever so grateful, believe me. Now, where's the sample? Once that's safely stowed, we can go. Excellent. Now let's get out of here. Sorry about that, but you'll live. My friends just want a little chat first. Well, more like a debrief, really. Actually, it's probably more like an interrogation.
You chose to trust Joyce Tanner and to help her. You kept your side of the bargain. You took a sample of Oberon and gave it to her. No small task. Now she has summoned her mysterious friends, whoever they are. You can all escape together, I'm sure. You left quite the trail of carnage, didn't you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon is dead, poisoned by your hand, and a potent toxin developed by Dr. Holder. The interference field should rapidly fade now, and perhaps the outside world will finally see what has happened here. So ends the quarantine.
You made it! I owe you every thanks the country does. Damn it, the world does! The infernal whispering in my mind that has dogged me for 5 years, they're fading into silence! Blissful silence! Do you understand? The toxin is working. Soon the interference field will come down and people will begin to arrive from outside. There may be some awkward questions when that happens. People who haven't lived through what we have might not understand why we did what we did. Come on. We should leave before they arrive. It's better for us to stay hidden. Trust me, for the moment. We're potential specimens, not people. Now, are you ready? Stay close. There's a secret route out here. With luck, these wretched blue eyes of ours will fade over time. Until then, we'll need to hide where no one can find us. Come on.
You helped Dr. Alan Holder in his plan to create a special toxin to deal with Oberon. It certainly seems to have worked. Now you may leave with Holder, although his plans only ever extended as far as killing Oberon. You left quite the trail of carnage, didn't you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon is dead, poisoned by your hand, and a potent toxin developed by Dr. Holder. The interference field should rapidly fade now, and perhaps the outside world will finally see what has happened here. So ends the quarantine.
You did it and survived to boot. Splendid work. Thanks to you, we're going home. There's still plenty to deal with here, but that's somebody else's concern now. I promised to get you out, and I shall keep that promise. And in a single bowl, we are free. Ah, splendid work. You'll go into the history books for this, you know. ATOMFALL couldn't have been fully realized without your help. By the end of next week, there won't be so much as a beetle still alive in the zone. Not a trace of the contamination left. Or anything. Or anybody, in fact. But you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs, eh? Ooh, omelette. Something to look forward to. I do love a good omelette. Don't you?
You decided to support Captain Sims and the quarantine protocol. Now the interference field is down. Operation ATOMFALL can go ahead, cleansing the zone. Cleansing. Sounds so humane, doesn't it? You left quite the trail of carnage, didn't you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon is dead, and the Windscale plant is destroyed. The interference field should rapidly fade now, and perhaps the outside world will finally see what has happened here. So ends the quarantine.
My dear, you are our miracle. The voices sing like never before. There is one last leap you must make, and then you will be free. Throw yourself into the pit. I am right behind you, child. Let the soil catch us. Let it set us free.
You listened to the land, heeded the call of the great purpose, and the wisdom of the voice in the soil. And now you are one with the soil, and that voice. I shall miss our little chats. You left quite quite the trail of carnage into. But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon grows so much more strongly now. There is rejoicing in Casterfell Woods. Soon, all will be as then. Shall the whole earth hear the voice in the soil? Perhaps, perhaps not.
The woods are dark and the woods lie deep.
There we go. Let me know what ending you got, what ending you like now you've seen them all, and are you going to try and get them all individually. So there's a couple tiny minor little differences in them end slate cuts, but otherwise that's pretty much it. I think if you don't really kill any of the NPCs or any innocents, it might not say you've got blood on your hands, which I pretty much did for the whole of the game. I did kill quite a few people. Never really felt like the Dr. Holder one was kind of true. It was never alluded that I had blue eyes until that very last second. So yeah, now apparently I've got the contamination, or I've been contaminated by it. Not gonna lie, I would have liked to have seen a bit more kind of changes and endings to it, but hey ho, at least we've got a bunch. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you at Ratbaggers for more detailed guides on how to achieve them all in the future. Bye bye.